Other news at this hour, Minister of Electricity Dr Kgosientsho Ramokgopa is today briefing Parliament on South Africa's Green Hydrogen Summit as it plans to be a leading production hub and investment destination. On that note, let's take you live to that briefing.
Ensure that we are able to construct a South African storyline in relation to the opportunities that are presented by this emerging energy source that is green hydrogen. And on that score, we found that it will be important that we occasion a platform that will make it possible for the public sector to engage in the most constructive and robust manner with the business community to ensure that our approach in relation to the exploitation of this resource finds some degree of convergence, the symmetry in what we are doing, because we have a full appreciation that the private sector really sits on significant amount of knowledge in relation to the kind of technologies that are required, the kind of skills. They've got significant amount of appetite to invest their money into the exploitation of this resource. But then the state is an indispensable player in the ecosystem, because the introduction of policies that are going to make it possible for us to exploit this resource is going to be important going into the future. So the first iteration of the Green Hydrogen Summit really was meant to first announce South Africa's presence on the global scale in relation to the opportunities presented by green hydrogen. And the second one was to canvass some degree of cooperation between the public sector and the private sector, and we're successful in galvanizing private sector participation in that green hydrogen summit. And really the outcomes of that illustrate the fact that our sense of the potential of green hydrogen was not misplaced, and we're able to determine that the significant amount of investments that has already been placed in this sector, some degree of research and innovation that has been happening, some of which has been led by the Department of Science and Technology. There's also industrialization potential that is presented by the green hydrogen. There's issues around the possibility of collaboration, both within the country, the domestic borders, but also opening up significant corridors with neighboring countries. And that's why now, when we enter the second iteration of the Green Hydrogen Summit, we are doing a number of things. The first one is to showcase at the project level the kind of work that is happening, and that is primarily spearheaded by the private sector. So the private sector in many ways has already moved ahead of government. They've seen the opportunity and they've seized that opportunity. But of course, the degree and extent to which they are able to be successful is a function of the policy environment. And that's why through the green hydrogen commercialization strategy that is all going through the final stages of approvals in government, we are beginning as a state to, if you like, surface some of the lanes that are going to inform the work of government in the commercialization of green hydrogen. And by definition, commercialization will also mean the degree to which we are able to industrialize behind this resource. So we see the potential of the international markets, because I think there's significant amount of subsidies that are provided for by the industrialized and developed countries of the world, many of whom have committed to a net zero path, and the possibility of achieving those targets is undermined by the limited resources that are available, and they've appropriately identified green hydrogen as an energy source that can help them to accelerate their march towards the realization of the net zero path. And a significant amount of concessions that will be introduced by the industrialized north. So it's important that in the fashioning of the opportunities around green hydrogen, there's a greater appreciation of what the international market opportunities that are presented by the international market. And of course, the cost component related to green hydrogen, they are still prohibitive because the technology is yet to mature, and compared to other energy sources, of course, is still prohibitive from a cost perspective. But we think that the industrialized North is prepared to pay a premium associated with the exploitation of this resource. And that's why we see that as, if you like, an avenue for us to be able to elevate the significance of this resource. And then there's domestic opportunities, the fact that we are home to the production of petrochemicals. There's heavy industries like steel and the manufacturing of cement, and those also lend themselves to the exploitation of this energy resource. And that's important from the perspective of the players in that industry, because they are likely going to encounter, if you like, what they refer to as CBAM, carbon border adjustment mechanisms. Essentially is the introduction of tariffs associated with the exploitation of markets in the industrialized North, especially those markets that have committed themselves to the net zero path. They are going to place a lot of attention on the sources of, if you like, the products that lands into their market, that seeks market opportunities, and they are also going to examine how those were produced. And if those were produced using dirty fuels, they are unlikely going to find a place in those markets. And you know, those are lucrative and attractive markets. So it's an existential question that the industry is responding to. So we think that green hydrogen lends itself to those opportunities. And then there's opportunities around the industrialization, beneficiation at the source, the components that goes into this ecosystem of the exploitation of the resource that is green hydrogen. And the fact that we are sitting on some of the biggest known deposits of PGMs, which are a major input into some of the production of electrolyzers and many other components that are associated with the production of green hydrogen. So we see that as an opportunity for us to industrialize on the back of these opportunities. But we have not lost sight of the fact that there's a need for us to cooperate, I think, as a country. There's an articulation at the national level, like I said, of a green hydrogen commercialization strategy. Once that is approved through the structures of government, and I'm confident that it will be approved, because we are at the last stages of the approval process. Once Cabinet applies its mind, I'm more than confident that the approval is going to realize. But I think it's important that internally there's greater levels of collaboration and cooperation. The last time we were here, we saw the relationship that has developed between the Western Cape Provincial Government and the Northern Cape Provincial Government, led respectively by the premiers, Premier Winde and Dr. Zamani Sol. They found an opportunity to elaborate on a cooperation arrangement, and I think that is born out of the realization that we are going to get significant amount of benefit from aggregation and scale, and that is taking new dimensions going into the future. And this year, what is significant is that the Eastern Cape is coming into that conversation. So there has been substantive engagement between the three provincial governments, and they've come to a conclusion that collaboration is going to be key, scale is going to be key, and that's why one of the hallmarks of this second iteration of the Green Hydrogen Summit is the codification of that relationship between the coastal provinces, and that really is going to elevate the potential of green hydrogen in the country, because it ceases to see administrative and political borders. All it sees is opportunities that transcend, if you like, the administrative and political borders. And as Sagane has indicated also, there's a Pan-African view on how we can exploit this resource. And of course, there has been The formation of the Africa Green Hydrogen Alliance is really an arrangement and the coming together of major players on the continent in relation to this resource. So, Namibia, Kenya, Egypt, Mauritania were part of that, and then we have introduced into the circle. Namibia is coming. Angola is going to be joining, and Ethiopia is also going to be forming part of the Green Hydrogen Alliance. And really, the intention is to ensure that as African countries, sovereign nations, whilst we protect our narrow sovereign interests, we think that there's a bigger conversation to be had at the continental level, so that we are able to agree on common standards. We are not pitted against each other. But in the industrialized and developed North, we have a full appreciation of the potential that our continent has as a result of location advantage. It's important that we should not be super exploited, as was the case previously, but we are able to protect first our narrow interests as sovereign nations, but secondly our interest as a continent, and make it possible that on the back of this significant resource we are able to realize the potential going into the future. So the point I'm trying to convey is that as a continent we have come to the appreciation that working together we can go further, and working as individuals we can move faster but undermine the collective interest. And that's why even the last time when we were here, the first iteration, there has been substantive discussions between ourselves and Namibia, and we're beginning to find each other a degree of convergence. Now when we are part of the Binational Commission, essentially is a collaboration between the two countries, Namibia and South Africa, at a head of state level. One of the conversations that we had now when we were with the president in Namibia on Friday was an appreciation of the potential of the green hydrogen source to be able to power, if you like, our economic interest, and also those of that have got socio-economic dimensions. I mean, it's not just about the increase in GDP, it's not only about the amount of jobs that will be created, but it's about universal penetration. It's about the reconfiguring of the energy mix. It's about the reduction of the harmful emissions into the environment, protecting the interest of posterity. So all I'm saying is that the calculus is much bigger than just a narrow focus on what is the economic potential. So the Binational Commission also agreed on the need for us to cooperate and collaborate as the two countries, South Africa and Namibia. So like I said, the second iteration, it's exactly that. Now we're taking it to a different level, a project focus, and the project focus is really led by the private sector. So like I said, by definition, the private sector will have a better appreciation of what are the market and commercial opportunities, and the private sector will move on their own to exploit those opportunities, but they'll be aided and abetted by an empowering policy framework dispensation. And that's why I took time to explain the work that we're doing in government on the commercialization side, but also the need for us to ensure collaboration across the administrative and political boundaries, undermine, if you like, the narrow sovereign interest, but look at a much bigger picture at the continental level. So I thought that it is important that we're able to give color and meaning to what we are about to embark on for the next 2 days, tomorrow and Tuesday. So essentially exactly that, the platform of private and public sector, but also expanding beyond the South African borders, but also cementing that collaboration between the coastal provinces. And I'm sure at the right time, Gauteng will also come into the picture so that we complete, if you like, the puzzle, and South Africa is able to realize its potential, exploit this resource, and address the many socio-economic challenges that are facing us, and also announce our intentions or concrete intentions of how we are going to meet the net zero path 2050, empower the realization of our nationally determined contributions, the issues around the energy mix as we are reconfiguring it. Of course, in the next IRP, it's highly unlikely that green hydrogen will find expression, because you must resolve the issues of cost. There must be some degree of certainty, but we are really beginning to lay the groundwork for us to be able to, as and when we update the IRP, green hydrogen becomes a significant feature of this conversation. So with these words, I really want to welcome you, and of course, when we get into the more substantive discussions during the conference itself, we'll be able to surface some of the most meaningful interventions we are making. We'll be able to illustrate the kind of cooperation that is happening between the coastal provinces, but the work that is being done also by the DFIs in the country. The DBSA and the IDC are going to be central in the exploitation of this resource, and of course they are committing themselves to making significant investments of proportions that have not been seen in recent times. And that's really an announcement of the intentions of the DFIs in the country to be key players and enablers in the green hydrogen storyline, both domestically and internationally. So I want to take the opportunity to welcome you, and of course my colleagues, the MECs, Dr. Malila and Joanne, will be able to elaborate further on some of the work that they are doing from an institutional level, be it the provincial level or the IDC. But thank you very much, and once more thanks to the coastal provinces, the Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and the Northern Cape for the immeasurable work that you are doing. I mean, you are trailblazers. The rest will follow. They'll jump onto a moving train, but you have started this, and you are lubricating our efforts to realize the potential of green hydrogen. And Joanne is an indispensable feature. I'm talking IDC and the DBSA by definition, in enabling private sector participation, if you like, taking, if you like, the risks that are associated with early movers, the issues around the possibility of blended financing instruments, the issues around pre-feasibility studies are going to be key in enabling our ability to realize the potential that can be exploited out of green hydrogen. So once more, thank you very much. You are all welcome. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you very much, Minister Ramokgopa. We will now hear from the MECs representing the provinces of the Eastern Cape and the Northern Cape, as well as the DG of the Western Cape. As the Minister has indicated, our esteemed speakers will each demonstrate in their respective areas the potential that South Africa has with respect to the development of green hydrogen, as well as the collaboration that is being inculcated across government and the private sector towards realizing the economic and, of course, the climate sustainability benefits of green hydrogen. First up, I would like to invite the MEC representing the Eastern Cape, Mr. Mlungisi Mvoko.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Greetings to the Minister, Dr. Ramokgopa, the MEC, Foslo, DGs and HODs present here, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me first submit an apology of the Premier, who was supposed to have been here today, but unfortunately due to competing state or government activities, is not here, but he will join us tomorrow. We've seen a number of countries announcing their ambitious plans to produce and use this type of fuel, which is produced from renewable energy sources. For a country with a huge potential to become a major green hydrogen producer and exporter, and thanks to our abundant and quality renewable energy sources, especially solar and wind, to our advantage as the Eastern Cape, we have special economic zones, ports and logistics facilities that can facilitate the integration of green hydrogen into the economy. Therefore, it's important for South Africa to collaborate with its neighbors in Southern Africa to create a green hydrogen region of international significance. As Dr. Ramokgopa had said, in order for us to be competitive, we should not continue acting as individual provinces, conducting ourselves in that fashion. It's important that we come together. So by working together, the Southern African countries can leverage their complementary strengths and resources, achieve economies of scale and efficiency, and offer a more competitive and attractive service to the global green hydrogen market. This is why the three Cape provinces, if I could call them like that, the three Cape provinces have come together to sign a collaborative MOU, which will be signed at the conference tomorrow. And this is why the MOU on green hydrogen among the Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, and Western Cape is a crucial step towards fostering cooperation among the renewable energy producing provinces. This MOU aims to create linkages and synergies among the province, as well as with the rest of South Africa and Southern Africa, to support both local and regional green hydrogen markets. The Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and Western Cape have a great potential to become green hydrogen production hubs, not only for export markets, but also for local and regional development. We want to leverage our renewable energy resources and existing special economic zones and ports and infrastructure to create green hydrogen value chains that benefit the whole of South Africa and Southern Africa. One of the initial sites for this vision is the Kruger Special Economic Zone, which is located in Gqeberha, formerly known as Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape, where we have access to abundant renewable energy, water, land, and port facilities. The Kruger IDZ is ideal for producing green hydrogen and its derivatives, which can be used as a clean fuel in the maritime sector or for feedstock for various industries. Supporting the development of the first-tier hydrogen production facilities is the cornerstone of our hydrogen vision. However, we also want to explore the wider opportunities for a sustainable and inclusive hydrogen economy that creates jobs and benefit our partner provinces. With the MOU in place, some of the important areas of mutual interest that we'll pursue with our partners include shared infrastructure such as transmission lines, which are essential for unlocking green hydrogen in the context of just energy transition. Secondly, skills development, innovation, and human capital development. Thirdly, the development of supportive and effective regulatory and institutional conditions, international and local market development, and lastly, localization of component manufacturing and services. The Eastern Cape has a strong foundation in renewable energy. In automotive and general manufacturing, you would know that in automotive we have about 4 of the OEMs located in the Eastern Cape: Mercedes-Benz, the Ford, VW, Isuzu, FAW, Bike, which is coming soon, and the last one would be Stellantis, which would be starting very soon. So the majority of the suppliers in the automotive industry are also located in the Eastern Cape for the greater country. So we have that foundation which is very strong. We will leverage this strength to collaborate with our partner provinces and create a green hydrogen manufacturing and services sector that is diverse and inclusive in the region. With the support of our outstanding academic and research institutions, we'll build on our legacy of innovation and excellence in these industries. The Nelson Mandela University is one of the universities that we are collaborating with when it comes to renewable energy, because they have a unit that deals particularly with renewable energy. So by collaborating on these shared interests and leveraging synergies and economies of scale through the cooperative arrangements in the Memorandum of Understanding, the three provinces will consolidate a green hydrogen region of global significance. We will all benefit from a growing regional green hydrogen economy, and this has a great potential to change the economic standing of our provinces for the better through the creation of jobs and business beneficiation. And this, to us, is the beginning of great things to come for the three provinces, also for South Africa and the Southern Africa as a whole. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, MEC Mvogo. I would now like to invite the MEC representing the Northern Cape, MEC Abraham Foslo.
Thank you, the Program Director. Let me also greet the Minister, together with my colleagues, the MECs, as well as the DG, and other DGs that are here, HODs that are here, fellow South Africans, our members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives us, as the Northern Cape, great pleasure and privilege to be addressing this important occasion today. I give you fraternal greetings from the people of the Northern Cape province, and also at the same time wish to submit an apology on behalf of the Premier due to unforeseen circumstances. He can't be here with us today. The Premier would have loved to be here because the subject of hydrogen and the subject of renewable energy is very close to his heart, because he realizes the potential of renewable energy and the pursuit of a net zero towards 2050. This important occasion comes at a time when the country and the world are working around the clock to meet the targets of the United Nations Millennium Goals on decarbonization and net zero future by 2050. The Presidential Green Hydrogen Conference is an important platform for our province, the Northern Cape, which is emerging as an important player in the production of green hydrogen and ammonia. With the ambient of the Boegoebaai Green Hydrogen Development Program, which is a strategic integrated program, ASAP as we know it. And that is as a result of the competitive advantages as a province that we have, including other provinces in the country that is also in particular along the coastline. As the province, it is our view that if green hydrogen can be produced effectively and cost effectively and efficiently in the Northern Cape, the country's manufacturing capacity will likely migrate there, as this new form of energy would play a crucial role in the global energy mix. Our province, through the Northern Cape Economic Development Agency, which is called NEDA, has already signed a memorandum of understanding with Sasol, and the pre-feasibility is being concluded to transition towards feasibility, which will enable the first phase, which will be developed in a staggered approach. We, as a province, have learned great lessons since the Northern Cape Executive Council, under the leadership of Dr. Zamani Sol, made a decision to commit the province to green hydrogen pathways. And today, I am pleased to officially launch the Northern Cape Green Hydrogen Master Plan. Ladies and gentlemen, the Northern Cape Green Hydrogen Master Plan is a bold and ambitious plan to position the province as a global leader in the production as well as in the export of green hydrogen. The master plan is obviously fully aligned with the national strategy on the just energy transition, and it has the potential to create significant economic opportunities for jobs as well as skills development in the Northern Cape, in particular with a focus on women as well as young people. So just to reflect on a few key areas covered by the master plan. The master plan covers a wide range of areas, including economic growth and export opportunities, major opportunities for large-scale infrastructure developments, enabling localization and industrialization in the region, in particular what we call the N14 industrial corridor, and then also significant job creation and skills development strategy forms a basis of the master plan. So the master plan includes several initiatives to support skills development and ensure that the local workforce is prepared for the new opportunities that will arise. The master plan also puts strong emphasis on community impact, localization, and enterprise supplier development. And we raise this as a key point because of our experience in relation to what transpired in the mining sector. Because the Northern Cape province is also a province where mining actually takes place. Now, having learned from the experience of what transpired in the mining sector, through the consultation process around the development of the master plan, there was strong emphasis on community impact, localization, and enterprise supplier development. Because the master plan is committed to ensuring that the benefits of green hydrogen industry are shared widely throughout the Northern Cape community, and we believe beyond even the borders of the Northern Cape. It includes numerous initiatives to support local businesses and entrepreneurs, as well as to invest in social development projects. But also the master plan also provides a complementary renewable energy supply to the South African grid. As we speak, the Northern Cape province already contributes to the grid more than 3,300 megawatts of renewable energy. That is about 46 projects that is already running in the province, of which 33 are solar projects and 13 are wind projects. So as a province, we're already contributing in that regard. But with the advent of hydrogen, we would be in a better position to even add more. So the production of green hydrogen will enhance the development of renewable energy in the Northern Cape. The hydrogen produced from renewable energy sources can be used to generate electricity, which can then be fed into the national grid. Powerful investment opportunities backed by strong regulation, governance, and accountability forms part of one of the key areas, focus areas of the master plan. Then also, as I earlier mentioned, is that the Northern Cape Green Hydrogen Master Plan is fully aligned to the national strategy, because our plan resonates fully with the national strategy on the just energy transition, ensuring seamless collaboration between provincial and national objectives. And that, to us, should be a huge advantage going forward. But also, the master plan provides an opportunity for long-term investment potential of $300 billion to 300 billion to 500 billion USD. The green hydrogen industry, according to the master plan and according to the estimates, has the potential to attract significant investment to the Northern Cape. The master plan estimates that the industry could attract between 300 billion and 500 billion in investment over the long term, leading to net zero by 2050. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Northern Cape Green Hydrogen Master Plan is a visionary plan that has the potential to transform the province's economy and create a better future for its people and the people of the entire South Africa. We as the provincial government is committed to working with all stakeholders and collaborate with everybody in this field, because I've seen that now we have become a hydrogen community to ensure the successful implementation of the master plan. With regards to the MOU between the 3 Cape provinces, as the provincial government of the Northern Cape, we are fully behind all the key areas that has been highlighted in terms of the MOU that will be signed here at this conference, and we commit ourselves as a province to make sure that our people in the province and even in the country stand to benefit, and we will play our part as a provincial government through our agency called NEDA. Thank you for the opportunity. Well appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, MEC Vosloo, for taking us through the Northern Cape's master plan. I would now like to invite the DG from the Western Cape's provincial government, Dr. Harry Malila.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Allow me first to greet the Minister, Professor Ramokgopa, Minister of Energy, Electricity, also MEC Mfoko, Eastern Cape, MEC for Finance, MEC Vosloo, old friend of the Western Cape, from the Northern Cape, my fellow colleagues, DGs, as well as members of the media. Minister, allow me to bring greetings from the Premier. I understand Premier had a discussion with you. He will definitely be with us later today. But I mean, this space is not foreign to us. I mean, we always say that Minister Ramokgopa, the Professor, is part of this province. I mean, we work together in the space of energy. And I mean, everything that we do is to the benefit of the country. Now, Minister, colleagues, as the Western Cape province, we have developed our, we call it Western Cape Green Hydrogen Strategy and Roadmap 2023. That will be approved soon. What we've also done is we've set some funding aside, particularly within our investment agencies called Westgrow, as well as the Saldanha IDZ, and that has actually seen the development of our Western Cape Green Hydrogen Strategy and Roadmap. Now, if I think about the strategy and I think about the vision that's set out in the strategy, what we want to do by 2050 is we aim to establish ourselves as a global leader in green hydrogen. But not just green hydrogen per se, also the production, export, domestic utilization and building of green hydrogen value chains. And the vision is anchored in the province's commitment to sustainable decarbonization and a resilient energy future. Now, I do not intend to go through the details of that strategy because I think, both MECs have already touched on that. And I'm so glad that I think as a province that we could actually, particularly this year, Minister, actually extend our relationship not just to the Northern Cape, but also to our colleagues in the Eastern Cape. And ministers or MECs, we can proudly call it, the Cape provinces. And in fact, I'll say a little bit more about what I think we can do. In fact, what we're trying to do is we're trying to become a global hub of green hydrogen export and domestic use. The Western Cape's hydrogen export ambition centers around the port of Saldanha and the free port, our Saldanha Bay Special Economic Zone. Our Eastern Cape have got 3 zones and they're already operating within particularly the motor industry, and our relationship with the Northern Cape has also been cemented, particularly in the work that they're doing out in Boegeberg, Boegebergsbaai. So what we want to do is we want to establish our Saldanha IDZ as a hub for green hydrogen logistics and midstream processing, with a specific focus on exporting green ammonia and green iron and steel produced at the Saldanha Bay Steel Plant. Now, you can see, if you've listened to what the MEC of Eastern Cape as well as the MEC of Northern Cape have said, all of these things actually connect to each other. And I think we've reached a point where we cannot do it on our own, but we need to do it in partnerships. And I think it's a big stepping stone for us, particularly as the Cape Province, to take the lead, in all of this. In the short term, the Western Cape, through the port of Saldanha, has an early mover advantage because of existing developed port infrastructure with bulk fuel handling capabilities and deep water berths, as well as greenfield development spaces for further expansion. As a provincial government, we must also acknowledge, I think, our gratitude for the support provided by the World Bank to conduct a pre-feasibility study to position Saldanha Bay particularly as a hydrogen hub. The study clearly highlights the possibilities of de-risking green hydrogen investment by producing green ship fuels, which is a firming market in light of increased climate change or climate targets for global shipping. For this, the Western Cape is ideally located along major trading routes with significant ship trafficking. Supplying green hydrogen-based bunker in the Cape to the shipping industry is a justifiable investment in its own right, given the regulatory developments. And what we're trying to do is, obviously, we're looking for further support from the World Bank, which will contribute to making Saldanha Green Hydrogen Hub a reality. And we believe that they've already given us that commitment. And I think as a provincial government, now together with the support of my two DGs in Eastern Cape as well as Northern Cape, we will really push it. And obviously what we want to do is we want to see the benefits actually, cutting across the two other provinces. We also aim to leverage the Atlantis Special Economic Zone. I think we are blessed to have two special economic zones in this province. The one sitting out in Saldanha. Atlantis is obviously a green economic zone. And what we want to do there is we want to contribute to manufacturing of key components of the green hydrogen value chain, including wind and solar generation equipment and electrolyzers to serve the local South African regional as well as the global market. So we're not only interested in exporting green hydrogen, we're also looking at our global markets, and we also firmly believe that it's a stepping stone and also it should link to what we're doing, particularly in the motor industry within the Eastern Cape. The longer-term solution centers around the development of the new port of Boegoebergse Bay in the Northern Cape. I mean, it's a small port, but I think it's got lots of opportunities, and the announcement of their green hydrogen master plan, I understand, is imminent. The envisaged benefits of achieving the Western Cape Green's hydrogen ambitions are manifold, encompassing economic expansion, export revenue, job creation, industrial revitalization, grid stabilization, and significant reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. The green hydrogen value chains are projected to contribute substantially to the province's GDP, employment, trade balance, and carbon emission targets. And in fact, our minister and also members of the media, we have tabled as a province our growth for job strategy, and what we want to do is we want to grow our economy to become a 1 trillion economy. And obviously what we want to do is we want to use our natural endowments as coastal provinces with high combined wind and also solar resources to attain some of these objectives. Energy resilience for the Western Cape now particularly, and transition to net zero carbon is an important priority focus area of our growth for job strategy. We aim by 2035, which is only another 12 years from now, for our economy to top the 1 trillion mark, inclusive of obviously real...
Right, that is the briefing on the Green Hydrogen Summit. We're hearing about plans for South Africa to be a leading production hub and investment destination. So we'll continue to monitor that. Of course, we heard from the Electricity Minister and various MECs.